It's really good to speak to you today, and unfortunately you couldn't come to Scotland this year, but hopefully next year you can come up to bonnie Scotland. We've got Stuart Turner here as well, and I thought perhaps ask you about your experiences in Scotland. I know that you rallied very early in the 60s with Stuart. Maybe you could tell us something about that.
I'm sure we have something. My experience from the RAC rally, and especially from up in Scotland, I did the 59 first time, I didn't finish. But in 1960 I did it with Stuart Turner. So Pat, my wife, said that the best navigator you can get is Turner, and she was absolutely right. And as you know, there was no practice or thing allowed in RAC rally at that time. But Stuart had a lot of connection, and he said, I think you don't know anything about it, so best we go up to Scotland and I'll show you what the road looks like, so you have a little idea what to do. So we went up to Scotland, and Stuart hired a Morris Minor from a small firm up there, and that's what we started with, and we went fantastic. I liked the type of the roads, narrow and very bendy and up and down. And we set off, I think it was the first day of this trip, and in coming round the corner up in the quite a hilly bit, and round the corner there was a lorry. We met a milk lorry right in the middle of the road, and there was no
It was a single track road.
Yeah, it was single track, and I didn't want to hit it. So I turned left over the bank, and that was a steeper bank than I ever thought of. So we rolled a couple of times down there and ended up upside down. And I remember Stuart, he lost his glasses, and that was his biggest worry. But luckily enough, we find them in the back seat, complete. And we climbed out there, and we looked right long up there was a way. I mean, the Morris was upside down in the hill there. So we climbed up, and Pat and Susie, they have stopped, Pat and Wisdom, they stopped. And they were worried like hell how we were right, and we come up. And how the hell should we get away from here? Or miles the next house, really. And they had an MGA practice car, and Stuart and I climbed in. I don't know if we sat in the back or in the front, but we got in anyway, and quite a long way. We went down till we got to a town, or I think the hotel we stayed in also. And that was the end for me, really, with the Morris Minor. But poor old Stuart, he had to sort it out with the chap we rented from. And I think he had a hell of a job to get out of that, didn't you?
What are your recollections of that, Stuart?
Well, my recollections are that if I'd been driving, or most people had been driving, I think we'd have hit the fish lorry. Erik, I hope he realised it was not a sheer drop to the sea 1,000 feet below and just sloped at an angle. And we rolled twice. And my memory, apart from wondering where the hell my glasses had got to, was this guy, as we're rolling, switched off. So when we came to rest, yes, we were upside down, but the petrol pump wasn't ticking. He is right, it sounds like an exaggeration. We clambered up the bank, and 4 of us got in an MGA. That is physically impossible. I've checked with Wiz, I checked with Pat, I remember 4 of us. I think we should go to the Guinness Book of Records, because 4 people can't get in an MGA.
You must be a bit thinner then.
What Erik didn't add, that evening in the hotel, he suddenly got up while we were having dinner, leant against a wall and said, I think I break ribs, and did this, and we could hear his ribs crunching. The next morning, Pat and I went with Erik to the hospital. They kept us waiting. We go, he said. We marched out, and Pat and I went to a local chemist and bought bandages, strapped him up, and that's how we won the RAC rally.
Did you take any
Quite a
painkillers?
man.
No painkillers?
It hurt a bit, but I was there for the RAC rally and not for the hospital. So,
and that was 1960?
That was 60.
And you won the event?
And on the event, a marshal near to there said, be careful on the next section, somebody went off a few weeks ago.
That was you?
Oh, yes, that I remember.
Yeah, that's amazing. And did they manage to recover the Morris Minor?
It was a nice car before I had it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not as good as a Saab.
Yeah, and we went on and did a little bit more practice, I think, not so much as we had thought about.
It wasn't practising in the sense of going over the stages, because although we know roughly the area, we didn't know it was this piece of road, but it was just to give Erik a feel for Scotland, which everybody should have anyway.
Yeah.
That's why I like Scotland.
Yeah. You like Scotland, yeah.
And I know it's been said that it was the first special stage that Erik won the rally on. It was a 2-mile stage, 3 mile. 3 mile,
Yeah,
we did
yeah.
2 minutes or the other way around.
Yeah.
It wasn't an actual private road, it was a public road, but I think Jack Camsley, with a nudge and a wink, it was the first time special stage.
Yeah.
And the Saab was perfect for it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Perfect everywhere, really. No, anyway, it was good, and as Stuart said, that was the first time RLC rally was a really rally with special stages and timing. You know.
Yes. Yes.
Before there was a lot of navigation.
Yes, and it was one on navigation.
And he was good on the bus too.
Yes. Well, that's 1960. When did you actually start rallying? Presumably it was just after the war.
I started small rallying around 60 in Sweden.
Yes.
I had cars before I started rallying. I remember the car I had before I bought a Saab was a Ford V8 35, quite a quick one without brakes. And I bought from a farmer who got broke a Saab 92, the old green 2-cylinder 2-stroke. And that I did quite a lot of events, 1962, 63, in the local area, championship or something, but not anything very big one. And luckily enough, I went quite well and I won. And sometimes thing broke, and I'm born in Trollhättan where the Saab cars are made.
Yes.
So I have many good friends and I always got the bits I asked for. And I often Monday morning up at the gate and ask, could I have that, and they normally help very well. When I get those big bits like wings and doors and things like that, it was a bit more difficult to get it. But the fence was not so high at that time, so I could get it on the other side anyway.
Oh, I see,
so I don't think I spent much money on rallying to start with, luckily now.
Yeah. So it didn't take you a long time to get into sort of international scene with the works?
I did this about 1964. I was asked by Saab if I liked to drive for them, and I did with a company car, 64 and a half, 65. Their car, and won the Swedish Championship, big rally, 1965. With the last rally we did with a 2-cylinder 2-stroke Saab. Next week we come out with a new car with 3-cylinder.
Yeah.
And I was asked of the technical director, better you start working for us instead of doing like this. And he didn't have to ask twice.
Yes.
And so I was employed 1965, but at that time there was a bit of short with money at Saab that time too, like today.
Yes. Yeah. Things
So
don't change.
I was paid outside, not through Saab. I got a brown envelope every month with
I see.
And 1966 I was employed, and the first thing as test and rally driver. That I remember I had in my passport.
Yes.
Test and rally driver.
So you became a professional, as it were, professional rally driver. Is there any particular events you enjoyed or that were favourites of yours in the rally scene at that particular time?
And as I said, that chap who employed me, he was also a very good rally driver. He was Swedish champion, so he knew a lot and he taught me quite a bit.
Yes.
But I was very keen to do the best. So every morning from home up to the factory, I did some small routes, just for fun.
Practice.
No, practice, call it practice, just for fun.
Yes.
That's the only practice I really, and nobody taught me anything more than what he taught me.
So it was sort of part of your nature, as it were, it's sort of inborn talent that made you a great rally driver. It was innate.
Before I start rallying, I should maybe start with that.
Yes.
I race motorcycle,
Yes.
Norton.
Yes.
And I think riding a bike, you got quite a good school, even for driving a car.
Mm-hmm.
For you can find out more or less the right corner and things like that, or the shortest way and thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was where I learned.
The skills.
Yeah.
And I think Erik casually saying he used to drive round going to work
Mm-hmm.
a different way. They would be on loose roads, and in the winter they would be on snow and ice,
Yeah.
which doesn't apply in every country. And I think that's why Scandinavia has produced over the years almost a disproportionate number of rally stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, winter time was a good school too, with all the rallying.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 4 months every year on snow and ice.
Yes.
Oh.
So you became an expert.
But at that time there were Finns, quite good too, they had the same condition.
Yes.
But real Finnish competition, I think, started 1967, when the Finns started getting good also.
Yes. Yeah. Is there a favourite rally you have? You know, I remember you saying just quite recently that you enjoyed the Tulip rally, for example. Do you have any memories of that particular rally?
Of course I enjoyed it very, very much. For that was my life. You know, if you have nothing to do, you went out on the small road and called it practice maybe.
Yes, yes, yes.
And 1967 I went to the 1000 Lake Rally with the Saab 93, and there was the European Championship Rally, and I was the first Swede who won that 1000 Lake Rally in 1967, and that was a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
With all the Finns.
We're good.
Where would you put the Liège rally in this list of events?
Liège,
Yes.
absolute the best. No question about that.
Of everything.
Any rally at all, doesn't matter.
The toughest as well.
Liège was tough, they were very long. The only thing you could compare maybe with the toughness was Safari Rally the first years.
Yes.
But Liège, Sofia was very long, about 4,500 miles I think, and non-stop. For 94 hour non-stop driving with 1 hour stop in Sofia. And when you got there, the question was, should you go to the toilet or should you eat? For that was the only thing you had time for, and
Yeah.
off again.
Yeah.
And the average speed was very high.
Mm-hmm.
The organization of that rally, they were clever people. When they have all the papers signed that they were allowed to drive,
Mm-hmm.
they made the shortest, the stages a bit longer than what they said. So the average
yes.
speed was very high.
Yeah.
Average speed for us with a little Saab was more or less top speed.
So it was flat out all the way.
Oh,
And they
must
had
have
a
been-
lovely speed. If you had a piece of flat road
Yeah.
with a hill at each side,
Mhm.
they'd put the controls at the end of those hills.
Yes.
Okay, well this piece in the middle was easy, so they would neutralise that. So you
Maybe a
couldn't do the
transit
thing on
section,
time.
yeah.
They were up to every trick you could think of,
Yeah.
but it was
Yes.
just amazing.
Yeah, I think the goal was to have no finishers, wasn't it?
there were very few funny, but there were also straight rally for, I remember 59 I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Native Rover Roots put in the protest at our car. We didn't have a back seat in.
Ah, I see.
And the protest, no problem. And Roots were not invited more. They were not allowed to do any more rally after that protest.
I see.
So they were straight people.
Yes, yes. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Glasgow is now a starting town for the Monte Carlo Rally, and it's to be a starting town again next year. What are your experiences of the Monte Carlo Rally? I know you've won it. Do you consider it a special event?
That was fantastic to win. I love that, to have done that. And I think for the company, there was even more for advertising.
Yes.
Monte Carlo, you know, was something everybody know in the world. But I still say Liège was
Was the
much
best.
better.
Yes.
Much better. But better event, And I know how hard I tried to get around on the years.
Yes, yes.
To put that in perspective, the time Erik's talking about 10 years after, I had some market research done at Ford, and 3 events are known or were known around the world. Indianapolis, Le Mans, Monte Carlo Rally. Those are the 3 best known. That's the important. But compared to the Liège, Monte was a little Sunday afternoon stroll.
But the Monte Carlo made you world famous.
Fantastic. And we won it twice.
Yes.
The first one who did that, after the war anyway.
Yes, yes. And the Saab behaved itself, did it?
Yes, sure. And even Monte Carlo and all the rally I did, we had the smallest car. That's also something to be proud of.
Yes, exactly.
And it's in Guinness Book of Records, and the smallest car again was a Saab.
So you've had a very exciting life and a very long life as well. Say you hadn't become a rally driver. Is there anything else you would like to have been?
I don't know, but I suppose I have to blame Saab for I was a rally driver in my hometown, and that's how it's going. And I enjoyed the longer event it was, just better I was. And I think Stuart can agree, I was bloody stubborn and quite strong too. I did 1963. Liège, Sofia, Liège. Gunnar Palmer was a navigator. He didn't feel well when we started. So that year I drove the whole lot myself.
Yeah. 4 days and 4 nights with 1 hour sleep. Not per day for the 4 days.
And there was not to recommend really, for I really was not right.
In this scenario of Erik's career, we should pay tribute to Saab, because I remember it being from a rival manufacturer that Saab were regarded as above all fair, friendly, pushing at the front edge. I mean, the first time any of us had seen a properly constructed bucket seat was with Saab, and we were in awe of them to some extent because of the aviation thing. I mean, we're almost going back to the days if an aeroplane went over, people rushed out into the street to point at the thing, so there was an awe about an aircraft company. But they were wonderful competitors.
And I think our car also was very well prepared before many other companies.
Yes.
It was very professional.
Good mechanics, good, and they were also tough boys. They could drive as much as I could.
In a sense, I suppose it must have set the benchmark for other teams.
It certainly set the benchmark at BMC. We used to consider how Saab had prepared things, and it was definitely influenced us.
What do you think of the rally drivers today?
They're well paid.
Do you think they deserve it?
But they are very, very quick. And they have very fast cars. And the cars are a lot safer in our days. You know, when we started up, I only have a seatbelt and lap strap like an airplane. No, I remember I had a green hat the first 3-4 years before I started with the crash helmet. And we drove night and day, as Stuart said. Today they have office time. When they get off, they don't drive any longer. And I think the start of rallying and meaning of rallying was to prove production car. I shouldn't say that that's okay, but the cars we used was more or less production car. Today I don't think you can even use the wheel nuts on a rally car. Stuart knows that better than I do.
That's true.
And I don't think production have any help really for what they have on a rally car. They can't move in that to a standard car.
No, it's completely different.
Going back to those days, you could break something and then 3 months later, with either Saab or BMC, it would be in production. A modification would be made. Particularly if something broke, it changed.
Our factory was very quick to change things we broke down on rallying. I remember going up with old Saabs in the Alps, there was boiling water. Going down, the brake fluid was boiling, and a lot of that we find out, special brake fluid, I know with Castrol in Germany, we had a lot of testing, and the oil improved very much and we didn't have this bigger problem with breakups.
So everything was fed into a production car, so it's a very useful
Yep.
exercise apart from the sport.
I'm sure the same applied at Saab, but at MG, one of the chief engineers used to come on rallies, on the Alpine rally in particular, and
Yes.
study what was happening to suspensions, actually on the event, watching it.
Yeah.
And when I been to a rally and we maybe finished second or third, and I call home to tell Saab, and we were second. What was wrong this time? They never said anything.
Did you take a pay cut? No? No.
Drivers never take
No,
pay
that's right,
cuts.
yes, we know that. That's right. Did you ever consider driving for anyone else apart from Saab?
Yes, I had a very, very good offer from Ford, 1963.
Yes.
And I was so close to sign. I had a pen in my hand when I sat in the Ford office to sign, and I promised the boss home in Sweden, don't do anything before you talk to me. And I called him and I said, I say, I'm just signing a Ford contract. And he started crying.
Mm.
So I backed out again, and there was a fantastic contract. 4 or 5 times more money than we got of the Saab. But I think I did the right thing.
Oh,
I was
yes.
happy,
Yeah.
even if Ford was very good.
Well, you're known as Mr. Saab.
On the driving for other manufacturers, I tried at
Yes, I
BMC
heard. Yeah.
to persuade him to consider, and he actually drove a Mini at Silverstone on Monte. But I think I sensed, having been in the Saab team with him on the 1 or 2 events, I sensed his place was at Saab. Ford made a more serious effort before I was there, but Erik, as you said, turned it down.
Now, I know that all the contract I could have had with BMC and Ford were much better, and I didn't even have a contract with Saab. And
You're obviously very loyal.
I was there,
Yeah.
and they were loyal to me.
Yes, yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
They do anything they could to try and make the car better.
yeah. Well, thanks very much for sharing your experiences and telling me a bit about your life and your life in rally. Thanks very much to yourself and also to Stuart. Thank you.
Thank you very much.